Hello and welcome to episode 5 of the Dragon Slayer of Brighton. I'm Vincent the Valiant, and today we've got a rather, well, it's quite a filled show actually. We've got a small announcement, a public service announcement for you about the Dragon Disco Pant Agenda, and I've got Wruenele's response coming up, a story about a dragon takedown that I did last week, some small information about... Sorry, I thought I heard something. It's really weird. I've had a strange feeling all week. I keep feeling like I'm being followed and hearing strange noises. It's very eerie. But I'll continue. So, yes, more about that. And then I'll be talking to you about one of the bravest warriors I've met on my journey in being a dragon slayer. And that is Enia and our war for Pan. Okay, so we'll start off with the Dragon Disco Pant Agenda. Here is a small public service announcement.
Have you ever wondered where disco pants and yoga pants appeared from? They just sort of came into our lives. I mean, before that, we had things that did the same job, but they weren't as fitting. Why are they here? Have you ever wondered when you're in the park and you're watching Mrs. Haynes from 42 and she's got this fantastic arse that you just can't stop looking at? Have you ever wondered where they came from? Dragons. That's where they came from. Dragons made them, and they're a distraction for you, because while you're looking, they've stolen your children.
Right. Yeah. I'm not overly sure dragons made disco pants or yoga pants, but it does bring up a good point, I suppose. Anyway, right, so let's move on to Wruenele. So Wruenele, he as you remember a couple of episodes back, I told you all about my nemesis Wruenele, the destroyer, the dragon eternal Wruenele at outlook.com was his email address. That's if you want to know how to spell Wruenele, by the way, it's Wruenele. So Dragon Eternal Wruenele at outlook.com. Spam him, send him lots of things telling him I'm after him, because it's hilarious. I keep getting responses, it's very, very funny. Anyway, here's the latest one that made me laugh.
You have decided to expose my magnificence to the world. You tiny, insignificant little whelp. I have lived hundreds of years, and my plans are coming to fruition. How ironic that the Dragon Slayer was the one to prove my existence to this world. Your move Dragon Slayer.
So I sent back a message saying that I wanted to move my knight to g5. And I thought that was witty enough. I haven't had a response since, but made me laugh. Anyway, right, so, calm. So, yes, Wruenele has got back to me. I sent him my message and things, and that's all kind of, that's kind of on the back burner. I'm not really too worried about him. I'm still more worried about the fact that I seem to be being followed. I keep getting glimpses of things in the corner of my eye, and it's just strange. I've had it 3 times when I've been walking through town, where I just keep catching myself being watched by people, and that's, it's possibly because I look weird, especially when I'm wearing the armour, but, people didn't look at me like that before, so I think it might be quite sinister, and I'm not quite sure whether I like it, but we'll see. I was on TV last week, by the way. I don't know whether you caught it. I was on latest TV on Brighton Lights. It went out at 7 PM last Friday, and it was on Freeview Channel 8 and Virgin Media 159. And yeah, it was really fun. It will be going up online at some point in the future. I spoke to the producers today, so once it goes up online, I'll send everyone the links so that everyone can watch it, and watch me on TV and see what I look like in the flesh, next to a very lovely burlesque dancer named Crystal King and Guy Lloyd, who's, quite a handsome man himself. So, yes, you can check that out. As soon as the link goes up online, I will let you know where it is, so you can find that and, enjoy and hopefully laugh and, be entertained and tell your friends. So, I think now is a pretty fitting time to do the emails. So, yeah, let's do that.
You've got some mail.
So Vince, I've got an email here from Rodigan Jack Humberger III, great name, and it says, so basically this dragon has been really irritating me and my housemates for several months now. We've just about given up. Originally when he arrived in our garden, he was this kind of cute little thing that we can get him to roast marshmallows or play practical jokes on people we don't like all that much for us. But as I'm sure you're already well aware, dragons grow fast and they grow big, just like in Game of Thrones. We tried a number of things to get rid of him, including a rather elaborate trap, much like the one we used on the board game Mousetrap. The only problem is the bastard's too big and too fast. If we ever get him, he just burns away the trap with his fiery breath, the stench of which is unbearable. And he goes on to say, we had hoped to find a peaceful resolution, but after careful online research, we think that at this stage, slaying him is probably the best option. To be honest, we've approached a few people about this work, but your advert is the only one that really seems like you might be up to the job. Are you free this weekend to come and quote for the work?
Dear Rodigan, or Jack, this sounds like a case of neglect on your part. A dragon is for life and not just for pranks. However, I'm not here to judge, so just show it a magic eye picture. The colours and the shapes will keep it in a trance, especially if it's a sailboat. Once it's in trance, just feed it some orange juice to stop the fire breath and trap it in a cage. I'll come and slay the beast properly on Sunday. Vincent.
Hi there! 3 days ago, I left my toast on the side to go to the toilet. Knowing my area, I thought it was safe to leave my kitchen window open whilst doing my thing. I came back to retrieve my toast, and to my horror, I found my toast sat there like 2 fucking black puddings. I had no choice but to assume this was a dragon, because I don't burn toast, and what I do is make toast perfectly, and with the right amount of butter, making it succulent and tasty. Anyway, I'm extremely pissed off, as I was really looking forward to eating the spoke about toast. Now it's ruined. Baked it myself as well. Please send a quote and come around and exterminate the twat.
I suspect, since you have no evidence other than burnt toast, that this is simply down to human error. So this might help. www.bonappetit.com/restaurants hyphen travel slash article slash how hyphen to hyphen make hyphen perfect hyphen toast. Vincent.
Hi, dear fellow dragon hater. I was born on a small island south of England called Blasia. Well, that's what it was called before it got destroyed. I lived on the island happily with my family till the age of 5. High in the mountains lived the dragons. For hundreds of years they didn't bother us, and they lived too high for us to reach. Our village was relatively poor, but we lived well, growing crops and living off the land. In an attempt one day to find a new well, a villager struck gold. For a few days we had made some jewellery and a little money, until the dragons sniffed out the gold and came flying down the mountains to find it. Within days, our prosperously little village had been burned to the ground. My whole family was taken, but thanks to them I was able to escape the island on a small boat. I didn't have any food or water, and the boat I had was falling to pieces. I managed to make my way to the coast of England and landed in Brighton, starved and dehydrated, but I had made it. I had nothing but a rusty sword and a small gold ring my dad had made me. Unfortunately, one of the dragons somehow managed to sniff it out. I ran to the pier. The dragon burnt down the pier and I escaped. I slayed the dragon, but in the process lost the ring to the sea. For the last few years, I've been honing my skills in the art of killing dragons. I want to help you in your quest for killing these. I have dragon tears and blood for when necessary too. I have a sword, but will need some armour. I will not sleep for a year if that's what's required to rid the world of these beasts. You have my sword. Dixie-ribbed Ball Baggins.
Dear Dixie, I believe it would be a good idea for you, me, and a few other noble men to join forces and rid this world of the foul beast forever. I will be in touch when I can, but now I must chase down a beast on the downs known as Trogdor. Vincent.
This is from Darn. I wish I had a dragon. I love dragons. I have a stone one on my patio, and I would love to have one on my roof. Sorry, I don't need any sleet at this point, but I'll keep you in mind if one turns up.
Right, well, thanks for the informative email. Just let me know if you need any help.
This one's from Haley. I want to marry you.
Well, dragon slaying is thirsty work. Maybe we should start with a drink.
You've got some mail.
Right, so let me tell you a story about a dragon I took down last week. So last week I was called out to the cinema in Brighton because there was some trouble with a dragon who was trying to get in to see How to Train Your Dragon 2. You know, they like to watch themselves on TV and things as we like to watch other humans on TV. It's not really that weird. But, you know, dragons are rather large, and so the cinema had asked the dragon to buy an extra seat at the back. So, 2 seats, so that he'd fit. Otherwise, you know, other people wouldn't be able to see. He got quite irate about that and didn't really want to buy the extra seat. And then when they tried to tell him he would have to leave, he wouldn't. So I got called in. And, you know, I got called in to help. And I turned up, and it turned out it was a Cumbrian long snout. Now, Cumbrian long snouts, they're fairly large. I mean, they're not all that big, really. About 12 foot tall, I would say, standing up. And, you know, when they've got their wings curled in, they're no bigger than, you know, a very large human. When I say very large, I mean very large. Sort of like the size of a golf cart, I suppose. But yeah, so they're about that size. Their scales are brown yellow, and they have very long snout. That's where the name comes from. And yeah, they're kind of. They're very strange. They kind of look like anteaters, like aardvarks, in a weird way. Of course, they've got wings and a long tail, but the front is like an aardvark. is what I'm trying to say. And I tried to calm down, convince him that, it wasn't, they didn't mean to cause any offence. It was just, it's just the way things are. So, he wasn't really having any of it. So I had to go away to the shop. Went to the shop, and I came back with a bunch of curly whirlies. And so I basically led a small trail of small chocolatey, caramelly, curly whirly treats leading into the underpass just around from that cinema. And there's an underpass under there, and basically I wanted to lure him into there because then he wouldn't be able to open his wings. Unfortunately, he figured that out as soon as he got down there. Got very, very frustrated that I was trying to trap him and lashed out. Unfortunately, as is likely to happen in this city, we stumbled across a hen party. And, because it was a hen party, they'd had a few drinks, and they saw a man in armour, that does strange things to a girl, they saw the dragon, they got all screechy, and, if you're a dragon that's just been lured into an underpass, and you're kind of trapped, and, you're not happy about that, and then a girl starts screeching at you, well, it's not good, you're likely to lash out. And, unfortunately, one of the girls got mauled. She's okay. Small laceration to the arm and a fractured wrist, but there we go. And so I basically had to put him down fast. So I quickly reached for Pointy, and I had to stab him through the heart. It's not nice, but sometimes it needs to be done. But as I did so, he whispered something. He mentioned something about it just being the beginning. I'm not quite sure what he meant by that, and I can't really ask him since he's dead. But, maybe it's the beginning of something. I don't know. The beginning of, his life on the other side? I don't know. Some weird things people say when they die. Or dragons say when they die. Anyway. I'm sure I'll find out what it means at some point in the future. God knows when that'll be, though. Oh well. Right, so now I'm going to tell you about Enia and the War for Pan. Okay, so about a month or so back, I had some messages from someone called Enia Della Piane, which is a beautiful name. Enia emailed me. She found my advert and she contacted me through the advert. And so I'll basically run down the story of how we got in contact, how I got alerted to her plight, and then what happened afterwards when we went to war against a vicious dragon. Okay, so Enia contacted me and she said, I need your help. Yesterday I was happily wandering around with my beloved cat and something big got him. It was shiny, blue and pearl, and the last bit of its tail. The size was approximately as big as a smart. I'm pretty sure it wasn't a smart. My cat disappeared in the sky, and you have got to find him. I'll give you new parts for your armour, a hug and a mango. Price negotiable. Thank you, let me know. So I obviously quickly responded with thank you for your response. I'm sorry to hear about your cat. I'm not overly sure what I can do on this one, I'm afraid, since I can't actually fly. But where did the beast attack you and your cat? You can email me directly at dragonbegone@gmail.com with more details. Your offer of a mango and a hug, which I suspect is probably more for your benefit after the loss of your cat. The new armour parts is a very generous offer, and I will gladly accept them and do all I can to help. Blue scales? Someone contacted me on Facebook with a similar description, so maybe this is the same creature. Please get in touch with more information when you can. Enya got straight back to me, Vincent the Valiant. We are hanging around the local cemetery, and we like to walk through the graves. Read the names when, suddenly, they heard a swish, and something came out of the trees and grabbed Pan. So she jumped, grabbed the dragon by the tail, but couldn't hold on for too long, and she let herself go into some bushes. However, she does think that she got closer to where they were hiding in the woods, and she was currently checking the area, but believed that her bow was not going to deal much damage in the case of the dragon, and it might get aggressive. So she asked for my help. What should she do? Should she wait for me? She was glad I accepted the offer, and she said that hugs have been proven to be mutually beneficial for both parties, which she's right, they are. She said let her know ASAP she really missed her pan. Have a lovely day, Enia. Which is quite nice. She's even polite at the end of the call, considering she's just lost her cat. Cool, email. So, I responded, of course, straight away. So, do you have anything you can use as a distraction, was my first line. In the past, I found many magic eye pictures, 24-piece marching band, and dancing the Macarena have worked rather well for me. Just don't get the moves wrong. Dragons are harsher critics than Simon Cowell. And if you can use something to distract it until I get there, that would be good. Oh, and don't suppose you have a banana, do you? Dragons are massively afraid of them, so tossing one into the nest will chase it away. If you aren't able to do any of these things, then just wait for me to arrive, and I'll take care of it. Your bow will likely just annoy it, so I wouldn't go with that unless it's absolutely necessary. Hugs are definitely beneficial for both parties, as are mangoes. I will collect both when I get there, and Pan is saved. Okay, so then there was a short delay, a couple of days, and then Enia got back in touch with me. And she said, I've taken 24 of Pan's friends with me to march and dance the Macarena while I was tossing bananas. She said something went wrong. The dragon started to hit her with bananas while shouting, These bananas are so rare that they can still climb the trees in the jungle. I think that she definitely confused him, but she said she had to abort the mission, and they had some injured parties that required assistance. She said she was healing them and hoping for the best, and not giving up. And the Grand General, who was a very common fellow cat, was now training a proper team, but she doubted that the dragon would fall in the same trick. She said they still needed my knowledge, and she was currently building some armour from some spare tiles and a morning star with foil and lots of nails. So they were getting ready for war. So I replied with, oh balls, then to war we go, for Pan. And that's how the email conversation ended. So I managed to get the coordinates of where she was in the woods, and I went to meet them, obviously fully tooled up, with Pointy in tow. So when we got there, there was a small clearing where they had fashioned their own almost makeshift village. It was like a small shanty town in the middle of the woods. It was nice. They had a blacksmith and everything, forging bits of armour and things. The Grand General turned out to be a very nice fellow. And yes, indeed, he was training people very, very well. We, at that point, had, as she said, 24 of her friends. The Grand General had, I think, 18 in his army. Yes, 18. And myself, of course. Oh, and not forgetting Pointy. So, we went to take on the beast. So, we tooled up, we got as ready as we absolutely were going to, and we went to take on the dragon. I decided that since the other tactics with the bananas and the Macarena hadn't worked, the main plan of action was to simply incapacitate it with sneezing. And obviously, as you will know, candy floss makes dragons sneeze. So, I had my bucket of candy floss at the ready. We came into the clearing, and it was a large, I would say, about 40-foot wingspan, blue scales, and it was a species I hadn't encountered before that day. The breed was a Norwegian fatskin, which, you know, I'd heard of them before. Blue scales, kind of a pearly, kind of pearlescent kind of paint job look to them. Obviously, it's a living creature, so it's not quite a car, so it's not a paint job. But you get the idea. And yeah, so that was a Norwegian fatskin. They can be very aggressive. This one was guarding 3 young as well, so it had some backup, I guess you would say. And Pan was there as well, in a cage. So, my first tactic, of course, make it sneeze. I took my Jif lemon and I squirted it straight down the dragon's throat. This counteracts the fire, which was my first port of call. Then I threw the candy floss. It stumbled around sneezing. Enya ran straight for Pan, but one of the young lashed out. She was lightning fast as she fired an arrow straight through its eye socket, and leapt onto the back of a second young one. I quickly rushed in to slash the adult's wings and incapacitate it so it couldn't move. After 2 swift slices of pointy, it was done. And the general, at this point, ran in from the back. He rushed in, killed the second young dragon, as it threw Enya into a tree as it tried to fly off. The third swung and took out 5 of the general's troops in one. Enya, stumbling to her feet, dispatched of it quickly and expertly. Only the adult remained. It was trapped, cornered, surrounded by all of us. We numbered at 35 at this point. We quickly laid out a circle of traffic cones to keep the dragon inside the circle. It of course wasn't happy, we'd just killed its 3 young ones. Enya released Pan from the cage as I decided to question the dragon. It said its name was Paver. It said there was a prophecy that one would rise in the south with an enchanted sword and armour made from an old automobile. It said it was one of many that would try to stop me, as supposedly this hero was meant to rid the world of dragons. Now, I just finished watching the whole series of Buffy, and I don't believe in a chosen one, so I don't think that's me. But Paver seemed to think it was. At this point, Enya got back to the circle. Pan wriggled free from her arms and ran into the circle. Enya followed and quickly got cut down by the dragon's tail. It speared her right through the middle and sent her flying into a tree. I lunged forward with Pointy, aiming for the dragon's heart, and I felt it go in. But as I did, I was knocked unconscious. I was thrown 20 meters away by a 4th young one that I didn't know was there. None of us did. I came to about a minute later. I saw, through a haze, Enya was limping away with Pan in her arms, bleeding profusely. If you're still out there, Enya, please contact me. I hope you're well. As for the rest of the group, well, the general's troops scattered. They disappeared into the trees, and I have no idea where they went. The general, defiant to the last, stood up to the final young dragon. He managed to cut its head clean off in one swoop of his sword. But as he did so, Paver had his final reward. He bit the general clean in 2. There was so much blood. Those I fought with that day are the bravest warriors I've met on this journey I've been on, in helping the people of this city. Dragons are out there, and I'm trying, but I sometimes make mistakes. I don't want to. Please help me. Get the word out. Tell everyone I am here to help. I can't do it alone. Remember one very important thing. There be dragons here.
Ooh.